The immortal words of George Gregan. 4 more years, boys. 4 more years. Has never been truer than what we're witnessing today. We have 4 more years of Eddie Jones. Never in my life have I thought that it's possible for Wales to score 40 points against any team, let alone the Wallabies. They did it tonight. They truly did it tonight. And really, it is a testament of the hard work that Warren Gatland put behind the scenes, the focus, the hard work, the determination that is put into this Welsh team to pull them out of the fire. The Wales was in way worse situation than the Wallabies last year. They lost to Georgia at home with the A team, with Alan Wynne-Jones on the field. They have financial issues internally with the players. Players' futures were not certain. And Warren Gatland took the absolute dumpster fire and turned it into what we witnessed tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Jones took over the Wallabies around the same time Warren Gatland took over Wales. In fact, pretty much exactly the same time. And they took what was problematic Wallabies team. I dream of the good old days when the Wallabies lost to Italy by 1. Oh, man. Oh, those were the good old days, guys. Those were the good old days. And Eddie Jones took that, completely took a shit on it. And I know some of you guys think, Eddie Jones is building for the future, mate. Don't get too upset. He knows what he's doing. If you think for 1 minute that Eddie Jones knows what he's doing, let me just explain this to you, okay? I know 99% of you guys watching this video didn't watch Super Rugby because it's just, I want to put these things into perspective to you so you actually understand the situation that we're in right now. 99% of you don't watch Super Rugby. I don't blame you. You probably had better things to do, like taking a shit, than watching the abysmal Australian teams that is out there on the field. If you're a Kiwi, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're not a Kiwi, then let me just put this into perspective for you, okay? Carter Gordon plays for the Melbourne Rebels. Super Rugby has 12 teams, right? To make the quarterfinals, you just have to be top 8. 8 out of 12, and you're in the quarterfinals. This 12 team setup is actually a lot easier than that. The bar is actually a lot lower than that because there are 2 teams that actually has no chance of making the top 8 because of a lack of availability to players and the lack of availabilities to coaches. That is Moana Pacifica, and that is the Western Force. There's no faults of the team, the players. They go out there to play their hearts out every week. But there's no realistic chance for those 2 teams to make the top 10, top 8. Okay? It's not their own fault. So this competition, realistically, Super Rugby only has 10 teams competing for the top 8. That's how low the bar is. Okay? That's how low the bar is to get into the quarterfinals in Super Rugby. Top 8 out of 10. And the Melbourne Rebels somehow finished 11th. They finished 11th in a competition of 10. I know. Carter Gordon finished 11th. They lost to the Western Force. A team that literally had to get players out of retirement to fill in because they haven't got the players to actually play, to fill a starting team. And that Western Force team ranked higher than the Melbourne Rebels. And Eddie Jones looked at this, thought, Carter Gordon, a guy who has never played in a quarterfinals in a competition where the bar is so low, a toddler can trip over it, and he still couldn't get over that. He took Carter Gordon, and he thought, this guy Carter Gordon, who never played a quarterfinals in his whole life, is going to take the Wallabies to win the Rugby freaking World Cup. Now you look at me, and you tell me with a straight face that Eddie Jones is not senile. That aside, Australia, the talents that was left at home, honestly, Michael Hooper, the captain, he is the captain of the Wallabies, by the way. I don't care what you say about Will Skelton, Dave McDermott, they're nothing. They're nobodies. Michael Hooper is the captain of the Wallabies. Quay Cooper, Tom Wright, P. Samu, Reece Hodge, Jed Halloway. The list goes on. And, you know, as a rugby player, you know, you actually don't really understand how painful this is for the players. What Eddie Jones has done is how atrocious this is that Eddie Jones has done to these players. These players worked their heart. They worked 4 years to get to this point. 4 years of hard work to get to this point. Under Dave Rennie, they worked. They mastered. They got themselves to the Rugby World Cup, and only to get sacked the week before the team announcement. Imagine being Michael Hooper, who has played his heart out every game for his entire fucking career, to get dropped the week before the fucking team announcement for the Rugby World Cup. The one that could be his last of his entire career. Prime of his fucking life. 31 years of age. Physical peak of his fucking career. Gets sacked the week before. Because Eddie Jones is a fucking egomaniac. Imagine, can you imagine? And that this is worse than, you know, losing your job. As a rugby player, you only have 10, 15 years of your career, and then you're too old. And World Cup comes around once every 4 years. To miss one of the World Cup, it's missing out, what, 30% of your career? 30% of your work as life's dedication? Just gone. Down the drain. Like that. Because of Eddie Jones. And his fucking ego. He needed a fucking excuse to lose so he can continue another 4 years, right? If he just went out there and lost with a full strength team, then his shitty coaching will be exposed, right? Then everybody will realize, oh, Eddie Jones is actually a bad coach. He actually doesn't know what he's doing. So he needed an excuse. Bring in the new players, sack the old guys. Now I have an excuse to keep my job as the head coach for the next 4 years to swindle more money out of Rugby Australia. You know that's the case. You know he's doing that. He's on podcasts every fucking week. Did you see Warren Gatland on podcasts every week? Do you see Warren Gatland making stupid...
We love proving Dad's wrong.
Stupid commercials that proves that he wants to prove the fans wrong? You know how you can prove the fans right, Eddie? Keep your fucking mouth shut and win the fucking game, maybe. Right? Maybe. How's that for an idea, Eddie? Prove me wrong. Why don't you win the one game? And then you can prove me wrong. Instead of making this, going to podcasts, making commercials, milking sympathy from the fans. Oh, it's my fault, guys. I bear full responsibilities. What do you, like? Of course it's your fault, mate. Why are you trying to garner sympathy? I don't want your sympathy, Eddie. I want to see results. I want to see you apologize to the players that you sacked. You ruined 4 years of their lives. You ruined a huge chunk of their careers. You've destroyed people's lives, Eddie. I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry that the game lost. And I honestly, like, Rugby Australia is a joke. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. Players are leaving left and right for overseas. We have teams literally can't get players like Western Force. Struggles to get players. And you know what Rugby Australia does? You know what Rugby Australia does? And this is kind of ironic. They go out overseas. And instead of buying the young, the new, the talented, they go overseas and they buy the retirements. The retirees to finish their careers in fucking Super Rugby. Jamie Roberts from Wales was here for retirement. Nodolo was here for retirement. Did you know this? Nodolo, the former Fijian legend. Did you know? You would know this if you're Welsh. Jamie Roberts, he had time to have like some Australian daughters here whilst barely playing rugby. These retirees came to Australia, take enough time from young talents that actually needs time to play in Super Rugby. And Rugby Australia put them on TV like they're the superstars. Guys, these are Jamie Roberts. Superstars 10 years ago. Put him on TV, guys. Not Dolo. Superstar. Put him on TV. Whilst taking up game time. You know Dylan Peach didn't even play for the Waratahs for the first 4 weeks? 3 weeks? Because of Nodolo? Because they want to put that guy on the field instead of Dylan Peach, who actually needs time on the field? Yeah, that's Rugby Australia, a retirement village for 30-year-olds. That's what we are doing here. That is the summation of Rugby Australia. A retirement village for 30-year-olds. And then these idiots, instead of, make everybody take pay cuts from the pandemic, instead of, giving everybody money back and try to retain some of the players overseas, the talent overseas, maybe bring Will Skelton back. Nah, screw that. Let's spend $4.8 million by Joseph Swali'i. I know, you're like, who's Joseph Swali'i? I didn't know who the fuck this guy was until they paid $4.8 million. Then I watched him as Roosters. He's 19 years of age. He can't pass the ball to set up a try for his team. Can't tackle. Sounds about right for the Wallabies. He looks very talented. I mean, he's big, he's tall. And yeah, $4.8 million for a 19-year-old. And apparently, Joseph Swali'i went to Rugby Australia and asked for $300,000 when he was 16. Over 3 years, Australian Rugby said, "Who are you? Who are you, mate? Get out of here. Who are you? Are you joking?" Now, 2 years later, $4.8 million for a guy who only played rugby in high school. That's Australian Rugby's plan of bringing this out of the shit. And Australian Rugby, the morons, actually come out and said, "We got our money back for all the media attention we got." Literally the entire country and their pets and dogs and cats are laughing at you for how stupid you are. And they're patting themselves on the backs. Guys, we got the media attention we wanted. $4.8 million well spent. Rugby Australia has never been talked to newspapers in the last, 3 years? Since we lost the World Cup in 2019, we haven't appeared at the front page of newspapers. We finally did it again. Well done. $4.8 million. Well done. 4 more years, boys. 4 more years. We got 4 more years of this shit. We got the Lions tour in 2 years. Joseph Swali'i will play a Lions tour after 1 season under the Waratahs. And he's going to go out there and play the Lions tour. Yeah. I don't know what is there to say about this game. Everything. The Welsh beat us in everything. We got dominating scrummaging. Every scrum in the second half was a penalty. Jem Slipper was actually doing quite well in the scrummaging in the first half. Was actually getting, popping out, what's his name? was actually popping out Gareth Thomas and getting that penalty for the Wallabies, right? And you know what the genius does? You know what the genius sitting in the coaching box do? They take James Slipper off at halftime. Yeah, the one guy that's winning the set piece for you, let's take him off at halftime. And guess what happened in the second half? Penalty every freaking scrum. Every scrum there's a penalty. Every line out, the Welsh just marches down the field like they play against children. Just march straight down the field, guys. And there's another penalty. That's the genius. That is the genius mind of Eddie Jones. At work. How many penalties was this game? 12. 12 penalties. Unbelievable. What is that to say? What is that to say? Gareth Anscombe. Dan Bigger got injured early, and I was like, wow, that could be a huge turning point. Gareth Anscombe. No worries. Plenty of experience on the bench, unlike the Wallabies, right? Did you know Donaldson has played 35 minutes of fly half this year before starting a fly half for the Wallabies in an elimination match against Wales? Did you know that? 35 minutes. Yes, only 35 minutes. I know. How does he get selected to play for the Wallabies for only 35 minutes of game time? I don't know. But that's what happened. And that was 35 minutes during the Rugby World Cup. He didn't even play a single minute. Donaldson, the starting fly half, played 0 minutes before the Rugby World Cup. I know. Eddie Jones building for the future, guys. Plenty of game time to build for the future. 0 minutes. He didn't get a single minute before he started in the Rugby World Cup against Georgia. Okay? Yeah, it's not a joke. It's Eddie Jones' brilliant strategy right there. Brilliant way of building for the future. Not letting him play at all. That's how you build the future, guys. That's how you build the future. I don't know what else to say, man. Missed tackles, 13. Everything. Big up, dominating. Everything. Kicking game. There was penalties everywhere. Every set piece was a penalty against the Wallabies. Breakdown penalties everywhere. I don't know what else to say, man. I don't know what else to say. 3 tries to 0. You know, anyway, I was going to talk about last Rugby World Cup where we almost won. Well, the old days when Michael Cheika was in charge, when we almost beat Wales in the Rugby World Cup. Oh man, that was so good. The good old days of 2019. At least making the quarterfinals before we got flogged by England, right? The good old days. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. Match stats. We had more run meters. We're just running to brick walls. Defenders beaten. 14 turnovers conceded for the Wallabies. 10 against Wales. Tackle. 141 for Welsh. 19 missed tackles. 122 for Wallabies. 13 missed tackles. The stats actually look better for the Wallabies. But none of that converted into any points. Because nobody on the field actually knows what to do. Believe it or not, everybody's looking at each other. Hey, what do we do here? Do we take 3 or do we kick the goals? Do we need a bonus point win to win this game? I don't know. Do you know? Do we need a bonus point to win this game? To actually make out of the pool? I don't know. Let's just take 3 points anyway, guys. Let's just take 3 points. I don't know. Let's just win this game first and then we'll do the maths later, I guess. Right? Yes, we needed a bonus point win to actually make out of the pool and deny Wales a bonus point. And they were kicking for goals. I know. It's like, I know. Yes, math is really hard. They're the rugby players, right? Give them a break. Conversions, Anscombe missed a couple, like pretty easy one. I saw it, like one in front. There was one kind of like on the side. I think Dan Bigger and having a laugh at it afterwards. Lineouts, I mean, the maul was just like literally every maul, Wales just marched down the field. And sooner or later, they were going to get a more try. And sure enough, they got one at the end. The scrum, I saw, like I said, penalty every scrum against the Wallabies. It was just atrocious. Absolutely fucking atrocious. I don't know what to say. Wales scored a try 2 minutes into the game. Literally the first set piece in the line out. Just nice ball, right? Goes to, it was ball to Dan Bigger, ball to Tompkins, was one of the, best centers in the world. Right now, he's really, really good for Wales. Just super high work rate. Tompkins, inside ball to Jack Morgan, the number 7, who runs through a gap. And Jack Morgan links up with his faster man, Jonathan Davies, the guy that beat the Wallabies in 2019, essentially, the single-handedly beat the Wallabies in 2019, scores the first try for Wales, 7 points to 0. 8 minutes into the game, right? Wallabies built a lot of phases. I mean, you need to score 4 tries for the bonus point. They decided to go for 3 points. Yeah, we'll do the maths later, guys. We'll do the maths later to see if we're going to make out of the pools or not, right? 10 minutes, Bigger hurt his shoulder on a tackle. It looks like it comes off, and Anscombe is on. Warren Gallen's favorite boy, Anscombe is. 12 minutes into the game, it looked like the Wallabies were dominating in the scrums. They get a penalty. Thomas Francis gets popped out. James Slipper was doing like absolutely amazing work in a tight head against Thomas Francis on the loose head side in the Welsh. And again, you figure that the Wallabies needs 4 tries. They go for the 3. For the 3 points. 7 points to 6. Just make the scoreboard look better. It's more important, right? More important to make the scoreboard look better than actually try to make out of the pool. 17 minutes into the game, Tom Hooper gets penalized for entering from the side. Anscombe has the opportunity to kick a goal right in front and hits the goalpost. And I thought, hey, that's not looking good for Wales, but how wrong was I? 19 minutes into the game, Wales sets up the first maul of the game. They marched 10 meters from the 50-meter mark into the Wallabies 40. And penalty. Anscombe hits this one from an angle, nice and easy. Showed that the first one was just a fluke. 10 points to 6. 23 minutes into the game, another penalty against Wales, believe it or not. Really, really looking good. Wallabies finally realized they need to win 4 tries to get a bonus point, go for the line out. The line out was immediately overthrown. And Jack Morgan kicks a 50-22 from this botched 5-meter line out of the Wallabies. Yeah. 27 minutes of the game, there was another penalty against Wallabies. Gareth Anscombe kicks another 3, 13 points to 6. 34 minutes into the game, typical Wallabies fashion. This is a classic play from the Wallabies. Passing the ball straight into the touch judge. Straight to the touch judge, right? Classic Wallaby play. Absolutely world class. Straight to the touch judge. Very, very easy for the ball boy to just catch that. And he missed, right? So it's ball boy's fault for not catching that. But the Wallabies definitely made the right play there. Again, after this one, Wales just went for the maul, marching down the field. Wallabies had no answer to the maul. 37 minutes into the game, Wallabies gets penalized for diving onto the ball on the ground. This was a bit of a tough penalty, some people might say, but that's the rules. The ball comes out of the ruck, you can't dive on it. You're a professional player. Wallabies don't seem to know the rules. They're like, what do you mean, ref? What do you mean I can't dive onto the ball when it comes out of the ruck? What do you mean I have to wait a meter? What do you mean? Where's the rule book say that? Wayne Barnes? What do you know about the rules, Wayne Barnes? Only 100 test caps? Oh, my goodness. Didn't know the rules? DK on the rules, Wallabies. 16 points to 6. Second half starts. Immediately, scrum penalty. Because Wallabies have decided to take off James Slipper, the only guy who's winning penalties for the Wallabies in the set piece. They take him off. And they put on, guess who? The Melbourne Rebels guy. Far more silly. The team that somehow finished 11th out of 10. He gets put onto the field and gets immediately dominated. 3 points to Wales for that. 19 points to 6. Another line out, not straight. 4 minutes later. Another minute later, another scrum penalty for Wales. They kick a 50-22 from this as well. 47 minutes into the game, Wales was building. The nothing was really happening. The ball just gets lobbed over the top to Tompkins. Just runs in for the try for the Welsh. Second try on the board. 26 points to 6. 3 minutes later, 50 minutes into the game, there was a high tackle from Karevi. Another 3 points to Wales. 29 points to 6. 53 minutes into the game, another scrum penalty. 58 minutes into the game, Tay McDermott, classic Wallabies play, tries to do a boss kick from his own 22, right? He kicks the ball straight up, and he came straight down to himself. Yes, I know how that's possible. I have never seen that in Test rugby. The ball goes straight up, comes straight down. Tay McDermott catches the ball himself. I know. And penalty, everybody in the Wallabies around him offside. Right in front of the goalpost, another 3. It's 32 points to 6. I don't even want to talk about this Carter Gordon tackle where he almost put his head in front. Whatever. Who cares? 65 minutes into the game, Wales sets up a maul, another penalty. 69 minutes into the game, Gareth Anscombe is bored, takes a drop goal, 35 points to 6. In the kickoff, and this happened, twice? Both Carter Gordon and Donaldson has kicked the ball out on the full in this one match. You figure that how many times you have to do the kickoff in this match, you will probably learn not to kick the ball out on the full. So Carter Gordon kicks the ball out on the full, just like Donaldson did early in the game. 74 minutes, Wallaby gets a penalty. Carter Gordon, the guy that took the Melbourne Rebels to 11th into the Super Rugby ladder, kicks the ball dead from a penalty. And yes, he kicked the ball dead and lost the penalty. I know. That's the reason they finished 11th on the ladder, and Eddie Jones thinks that this guy's going to take the Wallabies to win the Rugby World Cup. 77 minutes into the game, Wales 5-meter line out. Nice long ball. More. Everybody knew this was coming. Try time. 40 points to 6. That was the end of the game. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And please subscribe, because we've got 4 more years of this. This channel will be thriving. I'm sure with it. I'm sure that Eddie Jones will make me rich from all this atrocity that he's doing to the Rugby Australia. All right? And maybe if Rugby Australia actually dies, then I can finally, I don't know, support the All Blacks and maybe the Springboks or something. I don't know. Thanks for watching, and thanks to people who support my Patreon, YouTube membership, and donations who buys me coffee. Do appreciate it to keep me up at 5 a.m. in the morning. And have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys next week for the news. Cheers.